Congratulations to Kevin Harvick on being your 2014 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series championship. Welcome to Eric's Chase Grid Talk, episode number 21. And this is the final episode of what has been a long and grueling 21 episode series that has been these Chase Grid Talks. I've worked really hard. I can't tell if you've told. I've yelled into this microphone in a very assertive voice many times. And now I will get to do it for another 15 minutes or so for the last time as this series comes to a close. I'm being sarcastic again, guys. I hope people realize that I'm not actually being serious when I say that I think talking into a microphone for 20 minutes twice a week is hard work. This isn't hard work. I'm sitting here with a box of big Cheez-Its, can of Dr. Pepper. My phone's over here in my right hand. I need to stop looking at. Wait, what? Oh, my bad. I saw a typo on ESPN and flipped me out for a second there. I'm over it. Not distracted anymore. Episode 21 of Eric's Chase Grid Talk, the finale. And I know this is funny because I just finished the EE Cup Series Season 5 finale. There's a nice little plug right there. If you haven't seen that, go check that out. Obviously, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series just had their finale. And now, Eric's Chase Grid Talk, as a result, is having its finale. All three kind of go together, but it's still funny to me. I feel like I'm saying the word finale or the final race or the final blank a lot these days, especially even, in a few weeks in December, the first semester of school will be over, so everyone's talking about finals. So it's just the word final is all over the place. It's ridiculous these days. I've had a lot of practice. I'm not going to say final the wrong way anytime soon. Okay. I don't have any questions to answer today. I'm just going to talk about and I guess, give my take on the whole season as it is, and of course, Homestead. That was a good race. Let's jump right into it, I guess. It's the best way to do this. As I said at the very beginning, Kevin Harvick is your champion. He didn't dominate Homestead like I'll bet a lot of people thought he might, but he was definitely one of the, he was in the top 5 all night, top 3 all night for the most part. And it became pretty clear early on that it looked like him and Denny Hamlin were probably the two favorites, at least early on. Joey Logano would get up there and compete with them here and there. And Newman, he started further back than all of them did. He started back in 21st. He worked his way up. He was in the top 5 for a lot of it, top 6, top 7, but he was kind of always right behind them. He wasn't really wasn't good enough at any point to really get to them and really make anything happen. So for most of the race, it felt like it was more Harvick and Hamlin had the slight advantage over Newman and Logano, but all 4 of those guys were basically following Jeff Gordon around for the first 2/3, 3/4 of the race. Jeff Gordon had probably the most dominant car, at least during the daylight. When the nighttime came, he wasn't quite as dominant as the sun started to set. And then on a late pit stop, they stayed out. Later ended up pitting. There were some questions about that. Not going to go into that on this episode or ever because I don't know exactly what happened there. There's some controversy between Gordon pitting. Not going to worry about it. So when that all happened, Jeff Gordon ended up finishing. I'm not sure where he ended up finishing, but he didn't win the race, and I don't even know if he got into the top 10. I don't have the results in front of me. I'm too lazy. I know where the main 4 guys finished. And that's what I'll get to right now because it was an exciting race. Had its moments. All the drivers. Nobody really ran any serious problems early on or in the middle parts of the race. Everyone seemed to be running pretty strong. We're up in the top 6, top 7 all race long, just like NASCAR wanted. They wanted these guys. And I was happy for this, too, because I mentioned this on one of my last episodes. I mentioned that it would be really disappointing if just like one of the drivers just sucked this weekend and had like a 20th place car. I'm glad that didn't happen. I'm glad that all 4 drivers were good and were able to compete for the victory in the end. So that was good for NASCAR. It was good for the fans, good for everyone to watch. And obviously, I guess, good for the drivers to have good cars. Now, if I get into the end of the race or towards the end of the race, we had a little bit of a string of cautions there towards the end. I don't know the exact number. I think it was 18 laps to go. There was a caution. A lot of drivers pit. Denny Hamlin and a couple other guys stayed out. And Hamlin assumed the lead or was able to take the lead on the restart from Jeff Gordon. Both of them stayed out. A few guys took 2 tires. That included Ryan Newman. And Kevin Harvick, along with a bunch of other guys, took 4 tires. Kevin Harvick restarted 12th on the 18 to go restart and he had a good restart, worked his way up. Ryan Newman, I don't know exactly where he restarted, but he was in the top 7 or so, worked his way up a few positions. Denny Hamlin, like I said, took the lead, and this is all leading up to the next caution. The one guy I have not mentioned was Joey Logano. On that caution with 18 to go on their pit stop, a disastrous mistake. They're going for a 4-tire pit stop, and the jack fell off the car on the left side, and the crew members for that 22 team were scrambling all over the place, trying to lift the car back up. It tore up the side skirt just a little bit. And Joey, yeah, that ended his championship hopes pretty much right there. He ended up finishing the race in 18th. So, tough break for Joey. I mean, I felt like he was the second highest favorite behind Harvick coming into this weekend. And to see his championship hopes end like that was really unfortunate. But it just goes to show this is a team sport. Joey couldn't do it all on his own. He had to have a good pit crew. And they did an okay job for most of the night, but big one when it counted did not go the way they wanted it to go. So that ruined his hopes. After that first restart, where all the drivers moved up a few spots, we had another caution for a wreck. They had to go out and restart again, and at this point, Hamlin still just wasn't able to hold the lead. At this point, that he had been hoping when they had that first restart with 18 to go, and they kind of got single-filed out, Hamlin was hoping it was going to run green because he had the track position and the distance over the 2 tires of Newman and especially the 4 tires of Harvick that he was probably going to go on and win this race and the championship. Hamlin had it pretty much. It was a good call. I'm okay with the call that Darian Grubb, his crew chief, made to stay out. At the time, it made sense because I thought with the way the race had kind of fallen, I really didn't think they'd have another caution. And even if they did, I thought that Hamlin might be able to hold on, and he almost was because they did have another caution. And on the restart, Hamlin fell back to third, Newman got to second, and it was Kevin Harvick with those 4 tires rocketing around the outside who ended up taking the lead. Then we had another caution, and this one set up basically a restart with, was it 2 or 3 to go? It might have been just, I don't remember exactly how many laps to go it was. It might have just been 2 to go. And Kevin Harvick with the 4 tires, Newman there with the 2 tires, really had no chance, unfortunately. He said in his post-race interview his only real chance was to basically rub up against Harvick and borderline wreck the 2 of them. That was his only chance, and he didn't want to have to do that again. Understandably so. I respect Newman for that decision. I mean, Harvick, the strategy, and the car, and the driver, really, because he made some aggressive moves on those final couple of restarts. Got his way to the win. Hamlin continued to slide back. He ended up finishing 7th. Newman held on for 2nd and came up just a few car lengths out behind Harvick, who drove on to his first career NASCAR Sprint Cup Series championship. And this is a big moment for Kevin Harvick because he's had a successful career. He's got almost 30 wins in the Sprint Cup Series. He's got a bunch of top 5 finishes and points. He's always in the hunt. He's been very consistent for the most part. He's been very good. He wins races on a decent basis. The one thing he really did not have to his credit though to this point, he's won the Daytona 500. He's won all these other big races before. But the one thing that Harvick did not have to his credit at this point was a NASCAR Sprint Cup Series championship. Now that he has a NASCAR Sprint Cup Series championship, this guy, his career, I don't want to say it's complete because no driver is going to say that their career is complete. They're always going to say that they could have more wins, more championships, more anything. But he's got basically the complete package at this point. He's got the Daytona, he's got the championship, he's won a bunch of races. I mean, not like a crazy, not like a Jeff Gordon amount or a Jimmy Johnson or a Richard Petty amount or anything, but he's won a lot of races, a significant amount of races. I mean, that other drivers can only really dream of ever winning. So I think this probably solidifies Harvick as a future Hall of Fame member, based pretty much in the NASCAR Hall of Fame in the future. Harvick deserved this championship, in my opinion, more than any of the other 4 chasers did. Out of the whole 4 championship round drivers, Kevin Harvick clearly was the most deserving, in my opinion. You could argue for Joey Logano, but let's be realistic now. Harvick has dominated the races this year. They've had little problems here and there that have prevented them. But in general, Kevin Harvick, they've led the most laps. They've got 5 wins. They're literally just a couple mistakes from having 10 wins, pretty much, is what this season looks like. His season this year basically parallels that of Matt Kenseth last year, when Matt Kenseth switched teams to Joe Gibbs Racing and won 7 races, but had a few little mishaps here and there that kind of prevented him from necessarily being the favorite. The only difference in this case is that Kenseth eventually just lost the championship to Jimmy Johnson. Harvick just edged out Ryan Newman for the championship this year. So that's the differences, I guess. But Harvick, maybe this is just a new trend. Switch teams and you'll do better. I mean, that's what Carl Edwards is hoping for. He's switching teams next year. He's been with Roush for a while, and now he's going to switch over to Joe Gibbs Racing next year. And I'm sure people are going to look at him and say, hey, you see what these other 2 guys have done the last couple of years? You should probably do the same thing. So I would not be surprised if Carl Edwards comes out of nowhere and wins 5 races next year and is a championship contender, makes it to the Final 4. Nobody would be surprised. I mean, heck, freaking Ryan Newman could get to the Final 4 with the way he's been running. Anyone can get to the Final 4. All right. Right there is where I would usually have a commercial break. Brief pause so I can take a bite. take a drink. Take one more drink. Yeah, that's good. All right. What else is there to talk about? Man, this show is really just falling apart here in the final minute or two. All right. Well, I've said all I can say about Kevin Harvick. Not a lot else to say. One other thing I do want to point out is, a lot of the question that's arisen throughout this chase, throughout the season is, did NASCAR make the right decision with this new chase format? And I think the question has basically been answered, and I think in a way NASCAR escaped by the hair of their chinny chin chin this year, because in the end, Kevin Harvick, who's probably one of the most, if not the most deserving driver all season long, won the championship. The only other guys you could even argue, I'd say, are maybe Jeff Gordon and possibly Brad Keselowski, but he had his own mistakes. I don't think he deserved it. So NASCAR escaped, with the fact that it was a very well-deserving driver that won the title. But you got to look at it this way. Kevin Harvick won the championship, won 5 races this season, led, I believe it was over 2,000 laps. I mean, that's crazy. And he only won the championship by 1 point. Officially in the scorebooks, he will have won this championship by 1 point over Ryan Newman, a driver who I believe has led only 47 laps all season, has 0 wins, and he was only 1 point away from beating Kevin Harvick for this championship. And as much as NASCAR can say, oh yeah, we don't mind if Newman wins. I mean, he's played the format. He's got his thing going. NASCAR fans would not have been happy if Ryan Newman had won this title. There are plenty of Newman fans out there. Newman fans obviously would have been happy. I'm not saying that. And there's plenty of people that like Ryan Newman, probably more than Kevin Harvick, that would have been like, oh yeah, I'm fine with it too. But especially like casual NASCAR fans, or people like me even, who aren't really particularly fans of either Harvick or Newman, would look at it and say, no, why on earth is this 31 car celebrating a championship? They've been very average all season long. Whereas Kevin Harvick has basically dominated this entire season. He's had the few mistakes here and there that have prevented him from hitting double digits in the win category. But other than that, he's been very good. And man, if Harvick just slips up ever so slightly on that restart, or Newman does decide to run into him and forcibly take that position, and Newman goes on to win the championship, you're looking at a guy that really didn't really have any business being in the chase. And I'm not trying to say that, like, take away from Newman's season and everything and say that, oh, this guy, they really weren't that good, they don't deserve to be in the chase. That's not what I'm trying to say. But realistically, Jeff Gordon would have been in this championship hunt, would have been in this championship 4 instead of Newman if Brad Keselowski hadn't wrecked him at Texas. And even that, if Brad Keselowski wrecked him at Texas, if Gordon finishes 1 position higher than he ended up finishing, which I think was like 29th, if he just happens to finish 28th, Gordon's in this final 4. And in my opinion, Jeff Gordon's a much more deserving driver. I felt like Jeff Gordon was robbed of not getting to be in this final 4. And that's part of why he reacted so heavily to Keselowski at Texas, because he knew that the extremities of what had happened, and it cost him a championship hunt, because we saw Jeff Gordon had one of the most dominant cars all race long, and had he been a championship contender, that might have changed the way Alan Gustafson decided to call those final few restarts and pit calls. And for all we know, Jeff Gordon might have won the race at Homestead and would also be your champion. But that's the bullet that NASCAR nearly had to bite when they introduced this new format and allowed a guy. I mean, I've seen the comments and stuff like that where theoretically you could be a guy in under this current NASCAR Sprint Cup Series format, you could be a guy that wins 35 races in a row from Daytona in February all the way to Phoenix here in November. You could win all 35 races, but finished second at Homestead in the final race, and you could lose this championship. Realistically, that's what could happen. No, I guess I shouldn't say realistically. That's not realistic at all. But under this format, mathematically, that could happen. And since that never will happen, I guess, NASCAR's safe in that respect. But it's It's an interesting format. I like the format. Don't get me wrong. I definitely think this is a better format than what they've ever had. This is one of the better things that they've ever done for this sport. But at the same time, it does have its problems. And when you're Ryan Newman, who has not dominated, barely has any top 5s this season. You look at his numbers. He's got a lot of top 10s, but he has almost no top 5s. You really begin to question, the structure of this whole format when you got this guy almost winning the championship. 1 point is all that separated. That one restart is basically who decided the champion with that final restart with just a couple laps to go. So it's interesting. Like I said, NASCAR escaped with their hair on their heads this time because the deserving driver won. But like I said, if Newman had somehow scrapped it out and gotten the win, NASCAR would have a lot of questions, and they might have ended up changing the point system for next year. Let's be realistic. They might have because, when you got guys like Newman win the title over guys like Harvick and Gordon, you got a little bit of a problem on your hands. And NASCAR understands that. As much as they say that it doesn't matter to them, it does because I've seen the fans. I know it matters to a lot of them, and they're what defines where the sport goes in the future. And, NASCAR wants to please the people that give them money. When you got people not as deserving drivers winning titles in weird situations, it gets weird. So I'll end this episode. I'll end the series here on a happy note, I guess. Congratulations to Kevin Harvick, your first Sprint Cup Series championship. Way to go, buddy. Looking forward to next year, where hopefully you won't win the championship because you're not my favorite driver. Cue the music. Good. All right, let's get this music going. I don't know why I said cue the music. The funny thing is I add the music in post. As I'm recording this live right here, there's no music. There's not even like a picture in front of the screen like you guys are maybe possibly seeing if you're actually watching this instead of just listening to it. I mean, I add the music in post, so when I say cue the music, literally nothing happens. It's the glory of making videos / YouTube podcasts, I guess. All right, well, I just want to end this episode by saying thank you so much to all of you that listened and or watched this series over the last couple months. I hope you guys enjoyed not only me discussing the chase, but the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series chase itself. I thought it was very entertaining. I thought this year in general was a really good year for NASCAR. They had a lot of great things happen. Good drivers winning races. They had great finishes at some tracks. They had fantastic wrecks. I know a lot of people are into the wrecks. So you had these great, just a really good season. And this chase, in general, did what it was supposed to do and avoided pissing off any fans or drivers too much, with the chase itself. That's not saying they hated each other, but, didn't hate the chase. So, congratulations, NASCAR. You finally found a way to please most of your fan base. I applaud that. I never thought it'd be possible, but you guys did it. So for futuristic things coming up with me, not futuristic, just future things coming up with me on this channel, Double E Dud. As you know, Double E Cup Series Season 5 is in the books. I'm going to be making an update video in the next few days. Well, I'll actually explain all this more, but I'm going to explain it to you right now. I've already explained this many times, but I'm going to say it one more time. Double E Cup Series Season 6 is going to happen, but not until sometime next year. And probably not till March or April because that's when they'll have the 2015 cars mostly available. And I'll be able to get all the new stuff and I'll start a new season then. Until then, though, don't think I'm taking 5 months or 4 months off completely. No. I am so busy with videos right now. It's not even funny. I'm working. So many things are happening in this little office space I have with computers and cameras and cars and stuff. I have NASCAR parodies are going to be coming out pretty regularly, I'd say, at a decent, pace, a couple a month maybe for the next few months, I'm hoping. I'm going to be working on that. I have other things that I'm doing, videos that I'm actually doing for school that I'll also possibly be uploading here on YouTube. That video I did a while back, the Night of the Living, the live-action Halloween video I did with my friend, that was actually for school. I just went and uploaded it here because I thought it was decent, or I thought it was pretty good. So I still have other videos coming up here, other animations, other live-action stuff coming up. Don't think I'm just going to take 4 months off. No, there's going to be other stuff, and a lot of it's going to be NASCAR related and fun. So I hope you guys look forward to that, and I hope you guys continue to subscribe and support my videos. I know that most of you guys subscribe for the Double E Cup Series, and some of you guys for NASCAR parodies. And here I am bringing out these Eric's Chase Grid talks. And I know not everyone listens to them because they're long and maybe they're boring to some people. I think they're boring to a lot of people, I'll be honest. I don't think anyone likes to sit here and listen to me, of all people, blabber on for 20 minutes. But for those of you that did put up with my, voice echoing into their ears for a few hours on end here during this chase, I really appreciate it. And I hope you guys look forward to future videos I have coming out. And I'll see you guys soon.